Mark Johnson here, and welcome to MJ Guitar TV. What I'm going to do today is a fret level on this Mirage Classic. I carved the top yesterday. Right now I've just got the neck sitting in place here, but here's the body, maple top, mahogany. It's all sanded and ready to go. So I've got the neck here that's going to go on. It's a mahogany neck rosewood fingerboard, and I like to fret it before I glue the neck onto the body, and here's why. With the neck being on the body, and I have to do work on these frets, I can run into the body and kind of mark it up, and it just makes it a little bit easier to do it before it's glued onto the body. So that's what I'm going to be doing. So let's get rid of that body, all right? Some of the tools I'm going to be using here, I've got a flat file, and then I got kind of a little handle on it so that I can hold on to it. Otherwise it's a little bit difficult to hold on to. So I've got a flat file we'll be using. I have, after we flatten them, I put a curve back in. I don't know if you can see that, but the file here is curved for larger frets, for smaller frets there, and so that'll put a crown back in the frets. And then I've got this file here. It does the same thing, but it's kind of an old one, and I'll use it to put some sandpaper around it so I can sand in preparation for polishing the frets. And then I have this little file. It's not really a triangle file. There is teeth on one side, but then on the triangular side, two sides there are no teeth. And so this is what I will use to round the edges of the frets over so that it feels really comfortable. Because right now what we did was we took and we put a bevel on the edge, and so each end of this fret here feels really sharp, and so when you run your hand up and down, it doesn't feel comfortable at all. And that's kind of important, that this feel nice and comfy when you're playing it, and so that's what we're going to do. One of the very first things that we'll do is we want to sight down the neck, and we want to make sure that it's level. And usually it is on a new neck, but we just want to make sure, and so I'll just take and sight down the neck, and I can look and I can see if it's got a hump in the neck or a bow in it, and then I'll take that out with the truss rod. And it looks to me like it is pretty flat here, so I'm happy with that. I'm going to go with it. All right. So after we've figured, we've looked at that, we've determined that it's nice and flat, we're going to go, and I've got some tape here, and I want to tape off in between the frets. And the reason is sometimes, you know, you're working on this, the file might slip something, and it will put a little mark in the fingerboard, and that is no bueno here. We don't want that. You know, you can sand it out, but it just never looks the same here. And so I don't know, I don't want to even see it here. I want this fingerboard to look pristine. And so to do that, you just tape off in between each fret. So you can see there that I've got that taped off, and so then I'll have to do every one of these. I get down here to a point now where my tape is wider than the fret slot, and so now I've got to cut it. Okay, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to get it all taped off, and then we'll be back and I'll show you the next step. All right, so we've got the neck all taped off here. And the next step is to level the top of all of the frets here. Now, there's two ways that you can go about this here. I have a magic marker, and you can take and you can just, you know, black out the tops of all of the frets there like that. And then when you get them level, then you've got all of the black off of it. So we'll do that to some of them. I find that this is kind of an unnecessary process. I know what I'm looking for. I've done thousands of these things here. And there's a way that the light will just kind of shine off of it, and so you'll see a different shine when the file hits the top than the fret that has not been touched by the file. And so you kind of learn to be able to see that, and so you don't need to do that. But this is really an easy way there for somebody that might be beginning to do that, to see what's going on. And so I'm going to use my flat file here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to file them down and level them. So a couple of things I want you to, on file here, this, you probably know this here. Sometimes people will take and they'll run a file like this here, but that wears it out really fast. So to keep a file sharp longer, you just push it in the direction that it wants to cut, lift it up, and then just keep doing it in this way. And then your file will really last a long time here. Also, on a fretboard here, you'll notice here that the frets are narrower up here, and they're spaced farther apart than they are down here. And so that means filing is going to happen a lot quicker up here than it is down in this area, because per square inch there's more metal here, and so it's going to take a little bit, you might need a little bit more work down in this area than you do up in towards the nut there. Okay, so I'm kind of looking at that, and man, you know, if you get the frets in there and you press them in right, you don't have to level very much. And this is almost there. I'm going to do just a hair down towards the end of the neck here, and I think we're going to be good. Okay, I'm liking that. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but if you can see how the light there, once it's hit the tops of every one of those frets right there, you can see that here. And so when you get used to doing that and to seeing that, then you can eliminate a step. And any time that you can do something just as good and eliminate a step, then that's a good thing. Okay, so now what we've done is we've taken a rounded fret and we hit the top. And so we're going to want to put that round or that crown back in the fret. And so to do that, I've got this file right here. And I'm going to want to, I like to use the smaller one. I mean, that doesn't matter. You'll figure it out there, which one you like to use best. And so, oh, I got to put my glasses on to do this. And some of these really don't, they have been touched so little that I'm not even going to hit them with the file. I'm going to, when I sand them, that'll put the radius back in it. It'll be enough to do that. So I'm going to kind of start down here. And again, if you can just cut your file in one direction and lightly drag it back, that is best. Yeah, this is requiring very little rounding here. They were seated very well. And the neck is really flat too. Okay, all right. Now, I always turn it around and then come back from the other direction. This file right here, and any file, it will probably favor one side of the file over the other. In other words, one side of the file might be a little bit sharper. And so to make sure that I get that crown right in the middle, I'll come back in the other direction and just hit that. Okay, we got that. Now the next thing I'm going to want to do is I want these frets to be rounded over in this direction too. And I'll use the same file that I did to put the radius back in it. I'm going to round them. And it's just the edge of the fret here is just going to be rounded over. And that's part of what makes the neck really comfortable. See there, I slipped off, but the tape was there to save me. Sometimes I think that putting the tape on it takes longer than doing the actual fret level, but you know, it's a necessary step, and I'm going to have to tape it off again. I'm not going to do the polishing process until the very end. After I have all the finish on it, I pull the tape off the fingerboard that has protected it from the finish. Then I'm going to tape it off again like I did here, and then I will and then I'll put the final polish on it. So I'm not going to be showing that in this fret level. Okay, now for the same reason that we change directions when we put the round over on it, I'm going to do the same thing when we rounded the edge of the frets here, because the file might be favoring one side over or one, when I say side, you know, because it's curved, here you've got this side of the curve and this side of the curve here. And so one might be favored over the other. And so I'm going to make sure, now I'm going to come back and with it in the other direction. And so I've been trying to do the same thing. Like you'll notice I hit it like twice, and so I do that to all of them. Try to keep everything the same. Now I've got to go through and do the other side of this. Now it's been had some cold days here in California. The other day, I think we woke up and it was 33 degrees, something like that. There was ice. And so because of high humidity here, when it gets cold, when it gets down into the 30s, it gets really, really cold. And so when it gets cold, my nose starts to run here. And so you get a little bit of that I don't know what I'm saying here. I'm going to cut this. Oh, we'll edit it out. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the other side. Maybe we'll be able to speed this process up in the editing so you don't have to watch me do every single one. Okay, got that. Turn it around. Do it from the other direction. Okay, so that's actually feeling pretty smooth there, but there's still one more step here. I don't know if this is going to show up or not here, whether you can compare it being rounded to before we started. And so at the frets here, let's see if, I don't know if I can be able, if I'm going to be able to show that here or not. But there's these little areas on either side right here that kind of need to be filed like that, and that makes it even feel more comfortable. It's really important that these feel comfortable because your hand's going to be running on this here, and so that's an important part of a guitar, that the neck and the frets feel good. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'll do just a couple of them here. All right, and then I'll come the other direction and I'll round those off. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and do all of these and I'll come back and I'll show you the next step. All right, so we've got the ends of the frets all filed down, nice and comfortable. Now it comes time to sand them. I've got some 180 sandpaper. We'll just wrap it around this file here, and we will sand each one of these frets. Again, got to get my glasses on. So you can see there that they're being sanded up. I don't know if you can compare them with ones that haven't been sanded. But again, you know, I sand it from this direction. I want to turn it around and I want to sand from the other direction as well. So I don't get everything out. Like when you're sanding it, now you can see the shine on it is different than the shine where the file hit the top, and so we want to sand these just so that just so that disappears, that little shine from where the file touched the tops. So coming back from the other direction, I'll get just a little bit more out of it, perhaps not all of it at this stage. But I want to get as much as possible out of it. Okay, I'm just going to do these first frets right here with that. Now I'm going to switch to a 400. And do the same thing. Now with the 400, I want to be able to see all of the file scratches out of the fret when I'm done with the 400. But again, with 400, I go over them twice, one direction, go over it again, coming from the other direction. Okay, I'm liking that. I've got all of that out, and so the next process will be to buff it. But as I told you, I'm not going to do that right now because I'm going to glue this on. We're going to tape the fingerboard off. It's going to go through the finishing process. Then we buff it, you know, the rub the finish out, and then we'll come and we'll pull the tape off. And at that time, we're going to do the final buffing, and then we'll put a fingerboard dressing on it. If I put a fingerboard dressing on it now, then the tape doesn't stick very well. And if the tape doesn't stick very well, then the finish bleeds underneath the tape. And so this seems to work well for me. And I just want to remind everyone too that, this isn't the only way to do a fret level. So others have different ways that works just as well for them. It may even be better than the way that I do it. I'm not trying to say that what I do is the best way to do it. It's the way that I do it. It works. I'm able to do it quickly. I see others that they take very meticulous about it. Not that ours isn't meticulous. It's that we found a way to do it just as well, but quicker. And that's important to us, because not only it's not just a hobby, this is how we make a living. And so it's important that we're able to be really efficient at it. And so I hope this helped you a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching, and look forward to seeing you in another episode. All right, bye.